Hello and welcome to coverage of MSEM's Custom Night Magic for the day of July 30th, 2020. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be spectating the round 1 match between Ivy and Gateways. So, CNM, which stands for Custom Night Magic, is basically the MSEM format's spin on FNM, the Friday Night Magic. However, since we do ours on Thursdays, has a little bit of a different name, but it's really a place for casual one night type magic play. We already have the league system for essentially testing a deck more rigorously, but like in a more casual setting than our monthly tournaments. But this is completely like since you only play in that one day and aren't like beholden to that, and there's basically nothing at stake except a promo if you win the whole thing. So it's mostly just for good fun, and we get to bring people out and have some more off the beaten path decks than usual. This week's CNM is actually the largest ever, with 12 participants, which might sound small in general, but for a custom format event that isn't one of the large tournaments, that's a really great turnout, and I think is indicative of the growth of MSEM right now. In fact, one of the players that we're spectating right now, Ivy, I believe this is their first MSEM event, so I'm excited to see what they've brewed up. Okay, so it looks like both players are on black. Gateway starting off their turn 1 with a snow-covered swamp. Meanwhile, on the other end of the table, Ivy started off with a Forgotten Pit, which is one of our black creature lands here. Gateways is going to crack their Murky Peat for a basic swamp, and then immediately play Find Happiness and Misery. Might seem innocuous at sorcery speed and costing 2, but don't be deceived, as this is actually much stronger because of the leitmotif mechanic, which allows you to cast it again when you cast a spell that shares a color with it. And seeing that Gateways just milled a Villainy, it is very likely that Gateways is going to be playing another black spell soon, given that Villainy decks want to have a huge density of black spells to turn on that second ability. The presence of Intrepid and a Plains in Gateways' graveyard also signals that this might be Gateways' 4-color Villainy, which might sound crazy when you have a deck that has a triple pipped card that you want to cast on curve, plus has a reliance on black cards. But lots of our black X cards are very strong. So Gateways did make a deck which is Redless and has all of the best black X support cards for this archetype. If this is that, then it's going to be very interesting to see what Gateways brings out here. Meanwhile, Admiral Ivy is going to pop back with a Dark Bargain. This is one of the format's really good cantrips because it's essentially, first of all, it's a Sign in Blood which you can spread out over 2 turns / you can have it be a really good turn 1 play. It also is a permanent / enchantment, so you get synergies there, so all around a stellar card in the format. So Gateways curves out with the turn 3 Villainy as expected, gets to cast a Find Happiness and Misery again off of it. And yeah, we do see Descend on the Helpless being milled is super relevant if Ivy's playing anywhere near a creature deck, because Descend on the Helpless can easily be like a 4-for-1 if you cast it first. And even just casting it from your grave, it comes out as a 3-for-1 because you kill their creature. You get the Memento, which is essentially you get a creature, a Raven King Cormoran, and then he steals a creature from your opponent's graveyard. So just all around crazy. So Ivy is going to crack their Dark Bargain, drop in a swamp, might be playing Villainy themselves, seeing as they're so far pretty mono black. Dropping another Dark Bargain and immediately going to crack it again, okay. Just laying on the card draw, but needs to do something proactive here to be able to, because the longer that Gateways has a Villainy out, the more of an issue it is for Ivy. Okay, and that's 3 out of the 4 colors for Gateways, and here is the blue card in this deck, Dead Man's Party. So this card is essentially the only reason this deck is in blue. It provides like a recursive card advantage engine, which works really well with Find Happiness and Misery and Whisperwood's Exploration, both of which are cantrips which also mill you for a considerable amount, and thus provide fuel for Dead Man's pretty easily. And because you're playing a Villainy deck, basically every card in your deck shares a color. Oh, and it looks like Ivy might be playing MonoBlack enchantment. It's going to drop a Weaver of Tails and then the third Dark Bargain. So gets to drain Gateways for 1 and draw another card. Unfortunately, though, like if Gateways gets another land, on end or like next turn can just okay, it's just gonna Pitwilt, kill the Weaver of Tails. I actually think that this was a mistake because if Gateways had a fifth land, could cast Descend on the Helpless from grave, kill Weaver, and then steal Ivy's Weaver. Has a bunch of enchantments of Gateways' own, and like now doesn't have a target for Descend, so can't do that. Okay, so on upkeep, going to use Deadman's Party to return the Villainy that was previously milled. And there's the fifth land, yep. Probably just going to find a white land to have perfect colors right here. And yep, there's the Arctic Mine. All 4 colors online, on curve. And then going to drop the second Villainy. Going to use the trigger from the first Villainy to just shoot Ivy. And now things are really difficult for Ivy. He's essentially at the life total where Gateways can kind of just chain a few spells to just kill Ivy. And also, like, in MonoBlack, how is Ivy going to answer resolved enchantments? Because, like, if Gateways gets to keep even one of these, it can just run away with the game. Ooh, but a Zanagan from Ivy is pretty strong. Okay, so it's going to poke Gateways in the face, drain them for 2. How the turn's table? Now, Gateways doesn't really have a good answer to this, because Pitwilt, even if Gateways has a Deadman's Party, won't be able to kill a Zanagan with this Pitwilt. So has to dig for basically just more black spells. Essentially needs 2 black spells, which actually is not too difficult to achieve. Because with 2 black spells can point the 2 Villainy triggers at Zanagan, then for the second black spell, point 1 Villainy trigger at Zanagan, and then 1 at face. So Whisperwood's Exploration on end, grabbing back a Villainy, and that'll do it. And I'm assuming Villainy triggers on Zanagan, or did Gateways miss the Villainy triggers? Oh man, Gateways just clean missed the double Villainy trigger right there. Yeah, that could have gone much better if Gateways had just remembered Whisperwoods is also a black spell. So on upkeep, gonna get back Exant. Ivy doesn't have a creature here, but it is a 1 mana black spell, and I think that's the most important thing here. So actually, if Gateways has one more 1 mana black spell, if Gateways can just go Villainy and then double Exant, the game just ends on the spot. Okay, Villainy number 1. Or sorry, number 3 at this point. Jeez. Okay, so since Gateways is pointing the triggers at Zanagan, does not have enough spells to kill this turn. We'll probably just cast the Exant here though, kill Zanagan, and then drain Ivy's face for 4. Yep. Yeah, it looked like the Zanagan could maybe help Ivy stabilize, but at this point, they're so far behind. If they have the only thing that'll help them here is if they have a Rot, which destroys all non-land permanents with CMC 3 or less. But that would require them to also be running green, which they don't seem to be right now. Another Weaver of Tails, but that doesn't really do much here. He cracks a Dark Bargain, but now Ivy is dead to known information now, because on upkeep, Gateways exiles 2 black cards, grabs back any black card, and then casts that black card. Triple Villainy triggers on face, that's game. So yeah, he's grabbing back the Exant. Okay, yeah, and Descend does the same job, and then triple Villainy to face, that takes game 1. And yeah, the Whisperwood explorations and Find Happiness and Misery dig super deep, terrifyingly fast, and Ivy just stumbled right there at the start, the turns where they were just dark bargaining, and at that point they lost so much tempo that they couldn't answer Gateways' assault of Villainy into Villainy into Villainy. Okay, starting off game 2, Ivy, just like game 1, is going to run out the early dark bargain for that card draw. Gateways, on the other hand, also has a turn 1 black play, but it's going to be Duress. Okay, so it looks like Spike Wall Trap, which is an interesting choice. And it looks like, oh, Ivy is on Villainy themselves. Has a copy of it, so just gonna grab that. Okay, Ivy gonna drop the Moon of Encroaching Night after cracking the Dark Bargain. So looks like Ivy has a lot of utility lands. I wonder if there's any Wanderlust cards in their deck. Wanderlust being a mechanic where if you have 4 or more lands with different names, you get an additional bonus effect to whatever spell you're casting. Meanwhile, Gateways is just going to play Barren Desolation tapped. Interesting because Gateways does have a lot of turn 2 plays potentially, like in the form of Find Happiness and Misery, Whisperwood's Exploration, holding up Pitwilt. So playing this tapped is really interesting to me and signals that Gateway's hand must be on the high CMC side of things, probably going to untap Villainy and then has like a no rest or something similar as top end. Okay, or just really didn't need one of those. On end of turn, just going to exit the Weaver of Tales that Ivy played. And yep, there's the curve out into Gateway's zone Villainy. Oh, Ivy going to fire back with the Duress of their own, but it might be a little late. And wow, Gateway's hand is just 3 lands and a Pitwilt. I guess Gateways has been like kind of relying on drawing more cards to like support this Villainy, but didn't quite get there. So yeah, what originally seemed like was going to be a repeat of Game 1 actually now has a distinct chance of working for Ivy. Especially because Ivy's, going to drop a Dark Bargain, dig even deeper for one of their own Villainies. Okay, so Ivy going to play Weaver of Tales and then curve it into a Conspiracy of Ravens. So drains Gateways for 1 and also has a little bit of a time-delayed hand attack piece right there. Of course, I think the issue with this is that Conspiracy will probably just whiff, because if Gateways has anything relevant that they draw, we'll probably just play it on their own turn. But I guess it's good for a single drain right here. Okay, so Gateways just plays out, again, has the perfect curve of swamp, and then the pain lands for each of the respective colors. But doesn't look like Gateways has anything to play with it, so it's just going to pass. And it looks like Gateways just has been drawing lands, so Conspiracy is not going to do anything. But also notably, that means Gateways doesn't have anything to do right now. Oh, and another Dark Bargain coming down. Oh my god, triple Dark Bargain. If there's anything Ivy's good at, it's the talent of drawing multiple Dark Bargains. Hopefully at some point Ivy manages to hit another Villainy, because they have been drawing cards like crazy. And you're going to immediately crack another 2 of those bargains, yeah. The problem is that, and Ivy didn't attack! That's a mistake. Weaver is not an enchantment. I think Ivy really needs to push this stumble from Gateways as much as possible. And Game 1 they took the time off to draw cards, and it ended up biting them because it gave Gateways ample time to build up like an insurmountable board state. Here it might give time for Gateways to stabilize. Oh, and there it is. Gateways hits a no rest, but actually can't get anything off of this from Grave. Oh, can steal from Ivy. Interesting. And so can grab Ivy's Dark Bargain. So it's going to steal that real quick, because no rest, I forgot, is any graveyard. And then can immediately, gets to draw the card from Dark Bargain, and then can crack it to get another real quick. Okay, gonna find happiness in misery. And oh no. Oh yeah, Gateways did discard Ivy's Villainy earlier, so steals Ivy's Villainy with the no rest, which is cast off Find Happiness, and then just mills another 3, and oh man. Yeah, again, that was all it took for Gateways to stabilize. And that's also showing the power of Leitmotif. Just getting a free cast off of casting another color is just so much value. And man, Gateways or Ivy just cracks another Dark Bargain. No, please don't be a 4th. Okay, it's a Conspiracy of Ravens, but it's not much better. Gateways is already Gateways is already committed to a board state that it demands to be answered or demands to be outraced. And right now Ivy can't do either. And it's just going to pass again without attacking with the Weaver. Like, Ivy, you need to put the pressure on. Okay, Gateways is gonna crack the Dark Bargain. Okay, gonna just descend the Weaver. So lots of triggers here, but first, Find Happiness and Misery comes down, pokes Ivy for 4, Gateways draws a card, mills 3 and then draws a card. Then Descend kills Weaver, Gateways drains for another 4, and now Gateways has 5 cards in hand. If one of those is a black spell, Ivy is just dead on the spot. Oh, and notably, Gateways gets to... Oh my god. I always forget, Villainy has a first mode. So Gateways draws 2 more cards off of Weaver dying, so yeah, it's guaranteed. And there's the exit, that's game. And yeah, like, Ivy just... the Gateways' deck kind of beat Ivy on multiple axes. One, it had better interaction than Ivy's deck. Two, it ended up like going over the top of Ivy's deck. It just had crazier, like, because of no rest and the other leitmotif spells, it just managed to like generate excess value than Ivy could answer. And three, like, just in these specific games, like, Ivy just couldn't set up early must answer threats or like regain tempo and was stuck like digging deep while Gateways was setting up their own engines. But yeah, good games to both players. And hopefully we'll see Ivy do better in the next rounds of CNM. But until then, this is Caillou signing off.